The Oblivion Remastered is out after many weeks of incredible anticipation. The Elder Scrolls community has been waiting for a single-player game for almost 15 years. Finally, everything was revealed on the 22nd of April, and the remaster has been received well by most people. As of 25th April 2025, the game is having 82% positive reviews on Steam. There are issues with the game. Optimization with specific hardware needs to be addressed. Some people I know in our Discord have experienced unpredictable crashes, and others have encountered strange bugs like Oblivion gates appearing before they are supposed to. Let's hope Bethesda fixes these issues and supports the game for many years to come. In this video, I will discuss some big ticket items that I expected to be included with Oblivion Remastered. Some of these items were critical, and others were more of an expectation or a hope of Bethesda going above and beyond to make Oblivion better. Thanks to Spook in our Discord and the kind people at the Oblivion modding community for sharing their insights on these topics. Their inputs were helpful for me to write the script. I will link the highlight of the Twitch livestream where Spook and I did some testing and had some other discussions on the remaster. If you're interested, you may watch the stream. But let's get started by talking about level scaling. The level scaling issue is the biggest among the big ticket items. For those who don't know, classic Oblivion's leveling system had major flaws. If you don't build properly and just casually play and level up, enemies will become damage sponges while your damage barely increases. Every time you level up in classic Oblivion, you get to raise the value of 3 attributes. The amount you can raise an attribute by depends on how many skill points you have gained in skills governed by this attribute. In many cases, if you make your major skills the one you actually want to use in the game, you level too quickly and don't gain enough attributes. So people resorted to ensuring combat skills were not major skills, leveling slowly, or working on efficient leveling techniques. For example, in classic Oblivion, if you wanted to be a warrior, the optimal way to play was to have your primary skills to be non-combat skills, which is the complete opposite what you want for role-playing. You'd want the design to incentivize picking the skills that suit the roleplay and not disincentivize it. This was the big issue with classic Oblivion's leveling system. It punishes playing as your class, a cardinal sin for role-playing games. I was never fond of efficient leveling as it killed the flow of gameplay and made leveling up more of a chore. Oblivion Remastered has tweaked the leveling system a bit. When you level up now, you get to manually choose which attributes you want to increase. Now you don't have to worry about how many skill points you have gained in the previous level and worry about the growth of your character attributes. Manually assigning attributes helps you focus on the attributes you care about. Now we get 7 major skills based on how you want to roleplay our character and not worry about leveling. So yes, we are very happy with this change by Bethesda and Virtuous. Well done, teams. Okay, so player leveling is more manageable now. It gives us control, right? But what about other level scaling issues? We'll talk about those in the upcoming sections. As you level up in classic Oblivion, entire enemy types vanish completely and are replaced by higher level enemies. For example, wolves seen at earlier levels in the wilderness are replaced by new sets of creatures. Most of the encounters in the wild end up becoming what should only be found in dungeons. Areas that should have been peaceful and easy later in the game are littered with high-level enemies just because you are at a high level. This makes no sense, breaks immersion, and ignores character progression. The leveling scheme is the worst and often the most modded part of classic Oblivion. From our testing and observations by the community, Oblivion Remastered does not fix the enemy scaling issue. The wolf, who was easy at level 1, suddenly has become a timber wolf, damage sponge at level 6. We suddenly find the complete elimination of wolves from the Cyrodiil ecosystem, as if an invisible force has teleported them to an alternate plane like the Dreamer. And we assume this will go on at higher levels too, when we start encountering clan fears and other high-level Daedra in the wilderness, who will be more powerful than the player, if proper care is not taken building a character. It is such a shame that Bethesda and Virtuos did not address this fundamental flaw of Oblivion gameplay. Do share your comments too about enemy scaling. I would love to read up on your experience as well. As you level up in classic Oblivion, most items are randomly spawned from the list based on the player's level. As you can see from this UESP article, the table shows the minimum level at which an armor type begins to show up for the player. This table applies to the vast majority of the armor you will encounter, both on enemies and in loot. So once you cross level 20, the Cyrodiil Bandits Association distributes elven/glass armor and weapons to every bandit in the province. Bandits all over Cyrodiil who wore leather and fur armor have all received huge upgrades just because one future hero of Quatch is leveling up somewhere. It's just magic. To test this leveled loot system in the remastered edition, we use a console command to set the player level to 50. We then visit Wilverin, the first dungeon you see after exiting the sewers at the end of the tutorial. And sure enough, we find bandits with their shiny new elven armor and glass weapons.
30 minutes. There you go. Oh, there it is!
What?
Oh, it's hilarious. It's Elven. That has a glass weapon though.
I remember coming here at level 1, they were wearing nothing, essentially just some fur.
Yeah,
Okay, so this is still there.
Go inside. See what the guys inside have.
Okay, fine. Let's see. This guy, even he too has Elven. So, is Elven better than glass?
I think Elven is right under glass. It's the second best. Oh, he has a Daedric dagger too.
Daedric dagger. Wow, it's been a while. We thought this was fixed. It didn't get fixed.
Well, sure that like if you were level 50 in classic, everyone would be at like full glass, everyone would have a Daedric weapon, like it'd be capped out completely. So this seems a little bit more tame, I guess.
Right.
I'd have to see if that's just the outlier, and it's not just those two guys that dress for work today, and everyone else is wearing glass.
Oh, that's a glass armor, look at that! Hey! Is that glass armor?
I can't see. That is glass armor, yeah.
Glass armor was bright green, right? Fluorescent green.
Yeah, this actually looks good.
Yeah.
I don't like the mace. The mace looks like it's made of jelly, but the armor is nice.
Holy crow! So essentially, all the items are level scaled.
Yeah, but it seems a bit more tame. I mean, I can't remember because it was so long ago since I actually did like a level 30 character.
Right. This is a level 50 character, by the way.
Yeah, no. So you would expect every guy to be full glass, but it seems like they still have like lower level items on. Like mithril, you know, like
right.
if you were level 50 and everything was like constantly level scaling, you'd expect everyone to have everything glass.
Right, it's mixed here, so they're
the
mixing and matching.
They will have like some, slightly better.
Slightly better item scaling.
I assume you're still going to see people in Daedric though when you see a Marauder.
Oh,
the
really?
Marauders are pretty uncommon. It's just nothing can beat Morrowind.
Zone scale, exactly. Zone scaling.
And placed items and stuff, like it's just better. But it takes more effort, I guess. And also, these dungeons are not handmade, really. They're just like set pieces. Right. And occasionally someone puts extra effort in them. That guy just slumps over.
Yeah, what armor is this? Mithril cuirass.
That's Mithril. Yeah.
Elven shield and glass.
I have to say, all the armor looks like so good in this game, especially compared to classic.
It's beautiful,
where
right?
it looked disgusting.
Yeah, it's really beautiful. Mithril armor. Wow.
Yeah. I think it goes like spirit enemies have their own spawns because they're meant to be like dungeon bosses. You go from like ghosts to wraiths to liches to nether liches.
Right, and this person has glass gauntlets and mithril boots.
So the same outfit as the last person.
Right, so it's a mix and match.
Yeah, you could definitely still get a full set of glass, or several sets of glass from one dungeon though. You know, a wise man once said, once everybody is super, no one will be.
Who said that? It's a mix of glass, mithril and elven. Interesting. This Oblivion item scaling mechanic is an awful system. It destroys immersion and the player has to constantly keep up with the enemies and their changing gear. We had hoped Bethesda and Virtuous would make some changes to the level loot system, but it is the same crap here too. What a shame. In classic Oblivion, in most cases, when you receive a piece of equipment as a reward for completing a quest, its power and enchantment are adjusted so that it is neither overpowered nor underpowered at your current level. Unfortunately, the reward cannot be traded in for a better version after you have leveled. So, what was a useful item at level 3 is usually useless at level 23. Because of these leveled rewards, you are better off doing the faction you have an affinity with last so that you get the better level rewards. This was such an awful system that forced us to level our character outside of faction questlines, hoping to get the best reward later. I have not personally tested this, but as per inputs from the community, Bethesda and Virtuous have not fixed this level-based quest reward system. I will talk about mods later, but we do have a mod on Nexus that fixes this. The description is hilarious. Despite Todd's unbreakable promise that the leveling system in Oblivion has been fixed, this is sadly not the case. When I learned that the quest rewards still pull from a leveled pool like some sort of troglodyte moron game made for idiots, I was overcome with an impossible, incomprehensible fury. I blacked out, but when I awoke, this mod suddenly existed, along with a cocoon of train-like matter that seems to contain the now drained body of the original person who made the executive decision to have quest rewards. It was a fate they deserved. Anyway, this mod makes it so that any level quest reward in all the base game and all the DLC will always be the best possible quest reward you could get. Nascent newborn game developers, take note. If you do this in your game, I will ensure a similar fate as your predecessor awaits you. I do not suffer this kind of stupidity. If a modder can fix this level-based quest reward system in a few days, why can't Bethesda do it? It's unbelievable, right? Thank you so much TrainViz, you legend, for working on this mod. I definitely would like to install this and try it out soon. So there you have it, guys. You have the details now. Bethesda and Virtuous changed the player leveling, but did not bother to put in the effort to fix key systems that were messed up in classic Oblivion. Enemy, item and quest reward scaling were not changed. What a shame. Since Bethesda was remastering the game, we wondered if they went the extra mile to make some changes to the environment design and biomes. Bruma was spectacular with new snow textures and updated lighting. It really felt like we were near Skyrim. Skingrad, Korol, Chedenhall all had similar temperate biomes. The colors were muted compared to classic Oblivion. Here is Skingrad in the modded classic Oblivion. We had a playthrough last year. As you can see, everything is so bright and colorful. The color palette is crazy bright. I remember walking near those Skingrad farms and being blown away by how pretty it looked. Classic Oblivion definitely had a colorful world that makes it feel more like a light-hearted fantasy experience. The temperate biome of Oblivion Remastered, which we see here near Skingrad, has more muted colors and does not stand out as much. Anvil featured a dry, semi-arid biome with few trees and lots of yellowish grass. We were unhappy that they did not create sandy beaches near Anvil City. What a disappointment. Leavin was set in a spectacular jungle biome, especially when we entered the Blackwood Forest. We had giant shady trees, lots of forest clutter, and all sorts of new alchemy ingredients. It started raining and we could feel the wetness, and it really felt like we were in a jungle. I think the Virtuous team has done an incredible job here with the various biomes of Cyrodiil. Walking between cities in classic Oblivion was a very boring affair. There were no scripted encounters and no dynamic fights between NPCs, apart from mindless highwaymen charging at you like Fallout 3 raiders. We expected Bethesda to add some dynamism to the world of Cyrodiil with the remastered edition, so we started walking from Skingrad to Anvil. We did not experience dynamic random encounters like in Skyrim or any sort of NPC battles. That way, the world of Skyrim was so dynamic. You had random encounters, enemies fighting each other. It was always entertaining, something or other happening,
Yeah, importantly, there were roadside encounters as well as just traveling NPCs. If it was just traveling NPCs, it'd be very repetitive and
Correct.
you'd kind of start seeing the same person all over the place.
Right, you had scripted
But it's the fact
encounters.
Yeah, like they went out of their way to actually have things on the side of the roads and have dungeons visible from the roads so that you could walk along the same path like twice and then get a different kind of experience. You know,
Yeah.
like there's always something to do when you walk around.
That's absolutely awesome. Yeah. So there you have it. Walking in Oblivion Remastered will be a drab affair because the world is extremely static and not as dynamic compared to Skyrim. Next, we wanted Bethesda to add questing content within cities, as the questing content in Oblivion was lacking in few of them. For example, I visited Shaden Hall at level 1 and there were only 2 city quests open for a low level character: Corruption with Conscience and A Brush with Death. The other 3 city quests were locked behind faction quest lines or needed the main quest to start. There are no miscellaneous quests. Shane Hall was a disappointing place to start, and Imperial City only has 10 city quests. This is still too few for a city of that size. In Skyrim, I can start at any city, Solitude or Riften, and have 3 or 4 big quests, plus 10 plus miscellaneous quests and Radiant Bounty quests. All of this helps a low-level character immensely. So we had hoped Bethesda would add extra questing content for cities, but this is a remaster and not a remake, and I doubt they would add any new official content apart from paid mods. The fact that there is no creation kit has not stopped the modding community from creating mods for Oblivion Remastered. As of April 26th, we have 450 plus mods on Nexus. What we know is that the core data of the game is still loaded from plugin files or ESPs, as with the original games. However, each game object in the plugin is mapped from Oblivion Engine to Unreal Engine using JSON. Since Oblivion Remastered uses ESPs, we are seeing mods being ported from classic Oblivion. This mod by an accomplished classic Oblivion modder, Push the Win button, allows low-level creatures and items to continue spawning regardless of player level, rather than disappearing from the world as you level up. We also spoke about the mod by Trainvis that fixes the level-based quest reward system. And we have the first version of OBSE 64, a 64-bit script extender for Oblivion Remastered, is now out. There are lots of intelligent people at work, and I'm sure we will have a vibrant mod community for the game. Bethesda, however, released a KB article on their website saying mods are not officially supported for the Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion Remastered. This means we won't get a creation kit. However, on the Xbox Game Pass store, the game states it includes in-game purchases, which could imply the eventual integration of the Creation Club paid mod store. It remains to be seen. The suits at Microsoft may see the creation kit as a threat as well as an opportunity. They see how the creation kit is enabling the modding community to create DLC site extensions for free, which could cannibalize sales of new games. But at the same time, the creation kit is giving them paid mods which offer a lot of potential for recurring revenue years after a game is released. I think the greed will win out and we will have the awful Creation Club platform integrated with Oblivion Remastered soon. So kudos to the modding community for stepping up and offering mods even without the availability of the creation kit. Alright guys, we have come to the end of the video. Despite retaining some issues from the past, Oblivion Remastered is a wonderful addition to the Elder Scrolls game series. There is so much positivity and love for the game, and for a change, the majority of Elder Scrolls lovers are happy with Bethesda. I will never forget the excitement and emotions of the community, especially when the reveal videos came out on the official Bethesda YouTube. The release of any Elder Scrolls single player game is a joyous occasion, and so it proved with Oblivion Remastered. So please share your thoughts on what we discussed today. I would love to read all of your comments. And thank you so much for watching. May the divines watch over you.